You know that sinking feeling, don't you? The one that creeps in late at night when you're lying awake, staring at the ceiling, asking yourself, why doesn't he look at me the way he used to? Why does it feel like I'm giving so much but not getting anything back? You replay the moments in your head, his distracted glance at his phone during dinner, the way his hugs feel a little shorter, the silence that feels louder than his words. And maybe you've tried everything, texting him first, dressing up more, being extra sweet, even pulling back to see if you'll notice. But deep down, you're exhausted. Because it shouldn't feel this hard to keep his attention. You shouldn't have to question whether his desire for you is fading. You shouldn't have to wonder if you're slowly becoming invisible to the man you care about. Let me say this clearly. You are not crazy for feeling what you feel. You are not needy, and you are not asking for too much. You're asking for connection, for passion, for that spark that makes you feel alive and desired. And here's the truth most women don't realize. Men aren't wired to respond to endless giving. They respond to subtle psychological triggers, the kind that spark his curiosity, stir his imagination, and make him crave more of you without even knowing why. And that's exactly what we're going to dive into today. Because there are questions, 7 powerful psychological questions that, when asked in the right way, can flip a switch in his mind. These aren't manipulations and they aren't games. They're windows into a man's deepest wiring. Questions that bypass the surface and go straight to his core. Questions that make him feel like you see him in a way no one else ever has. Imagine this, instead of chasing his attention, he's leaning closer, hanging on your words, feeling this undeniable pull toward you. Instead of wondering if he's losing interest, he's thinking about you long after the conversation ends. That's the kind of shift we're talking about. So, if you've ever whispered to yourself, why can't I get inside his head? Why can't I be the woman he can't stop thinking about? Stay right here, because by the end of this video, you'll have the exact tools you need to stop feeling invisible and start becoming unforgettable. It's late. The clock on your nightstand glows 12:47 AM, but your phone screen glows even brighter. You've checked it at least 15 times in the last hour, refreshing the messages as if somehow the act itself could summon him. Nothing, no new notifications, just silence. You roll over onto your side, clutching your pillow. The sheets are cool against your skin, but your mind feels hot, restless, spiraling. Why hasn't he texted? Did I say something wrong earlier? Is he just busy, or is he pulling away again? Do you remember how it used to be? How he would text you all day, little jokes, sweet good mornings, random things that made him think of you. Now, it feels like you're the one holding all the weight of the connection, like you're the one doing the chasing. And that heavy knot in your chest whispers the question you don't want to admit out loud. What if he doesn't want me the way he used to? The room is dark except for the faint glow of your screen, but in your head it's like a movie playing on repeat. You see the way he looked at you on your first date, eyes wide, curious, almost nervous. You see how he used to hang on your words, how he leaned in closer, like everything you said was worth remembering. But lately it's different. His eyes wander, his attention drifts, and you can't shake the thought, what changed? You close your eyes, frustrated, whispering to yourself, if only I knew how to reach him again. If only I knew how to make him see me, not just as the girlfriend he already has, but as the woman he can't stop wanting. And here's the part that hurts. You've tried everything you can think of, giving more, asking less, waiting longer, loving harder, but instead of pulling him closer, it feels like he's slipping further away. So you lie there in the quiet, pillow damp from the tears you didn't mean to let fall, wondering, what am I missing? What do men actually respond to? What could I possibly say that would make him feel that spark again? The one that made him chase me in the beginning. And here's the twist most women don't realize. It's not about begging for his attention. It's not about proving yourself over and over. Sometimes it's not even about saying more. It's about asking the right things. Because there are certain questions, simple, subtle questions, that reach inside a man's mind and flip a switch. They don't make him feel pressured. They don't make him pull away. Instead, they ignite something deep inside him, something primal, something magnetic. And the best part, these questions aren't complicated. They don't require you to change who you are or play games. They're natural, they are powerful, and when you know how to use them, they'll make him look at you the way he used to, only stronger. So now the question is, are you ready to learn the first one? Here's the hidden truth, sis. Men don't fall for the woman who gives the most, chases the hardest, or bends over backwards to prove her love. In fact, that's usually when he starts pulling away. What really makes a man desire a woman isn't how much she gives, it's how much she makes him feel. And that's where these questions come in. Because asking the right questions isn't about being manipulative or playing games. It's about creating an emotional connection that wakes him up inside. It's about shifting the focus from you constantly trying to prove your worth to making him reflect, open up, and invest in you. Think about it this way. When you're always pouring into him, texting first, reassuring him, doing everything to keep the spark alive, you're carrying the entire relationship on your shoulders. But when you ask the kind of questions that get him to share, to dream, to remember why he's with you, suddenly he starts leaning in, he starts putting in the effort, he starts craving more of you. Here's the part most women don't realize. Men are actually starving for depth. They may not always show it, but when a woman knows how to reach past the surface and touch something real inside of him, it's unforgettable. These 7 psychological questions aren't about tricking him. They're about drawing out the parts of him that make him feel alive, inspired, and deeply connected to you. And that's what flips the script. Instead of you sitting there wondering if you're enough for him, he's the one lying awake, wondering how he got so lucky to have you. Instead of you chasing, he's the one showing up, texting first, planning dates, and trying to keep your attention. The takeaway I want you to hold on to is this. You don't need to do more to make him want you. You need to spark more inside of him. Stop carrying all the weight. Stop proving yourself. Instead, ask the kind of questions that make him reveal his world, his dreams, his heart. When he opens up, when he invests, that's when desire grows naturally. So here's one thing you can apply today. Instead of overthinking what to text or how to win him back, try asking him something that makes him pause, think, and feel. Something as simple as, what's one thing you've always wanted to do but never told anyone? Questions like this open a door into his inner world. And once you're inside, trust me, he won't want to close it. Remember this, real desire doesn't come from chasing him. It comes from awakening something inside of him that only you can touch. Before I reveal the first question, I want you to pause for a second and really think about this. Why is it that some women can walk into a man's life and without trying too hard, he can't get enough of her? He texts her first, he plans the dates, he looks at her like she's the only woman in the room. Meanwhile, another woman, maybe even you, gives everything, shows up fully, and still feels like she's being pushed aside. It's not about looks, it's not about being the funniest or the smartest woman in the room, and it's definitely not about bending over backwards to please him. The truth is, it comes down to one subtle shift. The way she makes him feel about himself when he's around her. And here's what most women don't realize. Men aren't wired to respond to constant affection, endless validation, or even grand romantic gestures. Those things are sweet, sure, but they don't ignite deep, lasting desire. What flips that switch inside a man is curiosity, challenge, and the sense that this woman sees me in a way no one else does. Now, before I explain the first question, think about this. When was the last time you saw him really light up? I'm not talking about when you complimented him or when you gave him something. I'm talking about that spark in his eyes, that moment when he was fully present, fully alive, and you could tell he wasn't just with you. If you can't remember, don't worry. That's exactly why these questions matter, because they're designed to bring that spark back. But here is the catch. If you rush through them, if you just throw them into casual conversation without understanding the psychology behind them, they won't work. These questions aren't about what you ask, but how you ask them. They're about timing, tone, and creating a space where he feels safe enough to open up and drawn enough to lean in. And here's the part that will surprise you. Sometimes the most powerful question isn't even about him. Sometimes it's about you. About showing him a glimpse of your inner world that makes him wonder, who is this woman really? What else don't I know about her? That curiosity is where desire begins. So imagine this, instead of waiting by the phone, praying for a text, you ask him something so unexpected that he can't stop thinking about it afterward. Imagine him lying awake, replaying your conversation, feeling that tug inside that says, I need to know more about her. I can't let her slip away. That's what these questions do. But before we dive into the first one, let me share this. A man's desire doesn't die when you stop being attractive. It dies when he stops being engaged. And the good news? Engagement isn't about looks or effort. It's about connection. So here's the loop I want you to keep in mind as we go through these 7 questions. Each one builds on the other. The first question opens the door. The second draws him closer, the third gets him invested, and by the time you reach the 7th, you'll notice something shift. He won't just desire you, he'll respect you, crave you, and see you as unforgettable. But here's the twist. I'm not giving you all 7 right away, because if I did, you'd miss the most important part, how to use them. And trust me, the how is what makes all the difference. So stay with me, because in just a moment I'm going to reveal the very first question. It's simple, it's powerful, and once you hear it, you'll understand exactly why he won't be able to stop thinking about you after you ask it. But first, let me ask you, are you ready to stop chasing his attention and finally make him chase you? So now you know, these 7 psychological questions aren't just tricks or games, they're doorways, little windows that let him see into your soul, and at the same time they invite him to reveal his own. And when that happens, something shifts. Desire stops being shallow. It stops being about the surface or about him chasing you just because you're hard to get. Instead, it becomes something deeper, something lasting. But I want to pause here, because I know what you might be feeling right now. Maybe as you listened, you realize how often you've given too much, loved too hard, or chased him so fiercely that you forgot yourself in the process. Maybe you've been lying awake at night, wondering, why isn't my love enough? Why do I feel invisible when I'm giving him everything I have? And if that's you, let me say this straight to your heart. Your love was never the problem. Your worth was never the problem. You are not too much. You are not unlovable. What you've been missing is simply the balance, the space where love and respect can grow together. These questions, they're not about manipulation. They're not about pretending to be someone you're not. They're about helping you stop overgiving, stop chasing, and instead create a connection where his desire for you grows naturally. Because when a man feels curious about you, when he feels like he's discovering layers of you he's never seen before, he doesn't drift away. He leans in. He craves more. And here's the most beautiful part. When you start using these questions, you'll notice something unexpected. It's not just him who changes. You change. You begin to feel your own power again. You stop waiting for a text to validate your worth. You stop begging for crumbs of attention. Instead, you realize, I am the prize. I am the woman who sets the tone. I am worth being pursued, cherished, and respected. That's what I want you to carry with you today. Because yes, these questions will trigger male desire, but more importantly, they remind you of the woman you truly are. Magnetic, unforgettable, and worthy of a love that feels as good as you give. And if you're sitting there thinking, but what if he still doesn't respond? What if he doesn't step up? Then that's your answer too. If a man can't rise to meet the energy you're giving him, he was never meant to hold your heart in the first place. You deserve more. You deserve better. So as we wrap up, here's your takeaway. Don't use these questions from a place of fear or desperation. Use them from a place of curiosity, strength, and self-love. Let them be a reminder that connection isn't about begging for attention. It's about sparking it naturally through the confidence of knowing who you are. And remember this: the woman who learns to stop chasing and instead steps fully into her worth, she never has to question if she's enough. Because suddenly, the right man will do everything he can to prove that he's enough for her. You are powerful, you are deserving, and this is only the beginning. Because in the next video, I'm going to show you something even deeper. How to keep that desire alive once you've sparked it, so that his attention doesn't just come and go, but stays. So hold on, beautiful, your story isn't ending here, it's just getting started.